Another highlight from Belstaff's 2021 collection, this is the Belstaff Ariel 2 Pro jacket. The Ariel existed about 3-4 seasons ago, disappeared, and it's back, and we're really pleased that it is, because this was always a very popular item, but it's now been infused with things like the waterproof membrane and also the fact that it has CE approval, which is another big march forward with collections in the last few years from Belstaff. This is something that comes in the racing red and also in a black. It comes in at £425 and it's CE approved to level A or AA. We don't actually know yet at the time of release of this video. This, though, is going to be CE approved one way or another, and if that's massively important to you, which of the two categories it is by the time of release of the video, it will be over on the product page on urbanrider.co.uk. But the point is, this is the Tech Wax outer. This is something that has achieved AA and plenty of other garments in our lineup. And this is essentially a waxed cotton outer, so it has a degree of waterproofing in and of itself as an outer layer, and it will take quite a bit of water for the actual waxed cotton outer to penetrate. But as I said, underneath that, you've got this seam-sealed, waterproof and breathable membrane anyway, so you will not get wet, even if the outer fabric slightly saturates in a lot of rainfall. But this is a waxed cotton that is infused with a nylon thread, so this gives it the extra elevated abrasion resistance that means that it can qualify for CE approval. And as I say, we're just waiting to see which of the two levels it's been submitted for as to whether it passes A or AA. In terms of the jacket though itself, it's spring, summer, it's not something that comes with a removable thermal lining, and I don't think it needs to. It's perfectly suited to what it is designed for. So it's lightweight, it's short cut, it's a fairly sort of sporty cut in some senses, but it doesn't have lots of overly garish sports styling. It's quite understated in terms of the design itself, pretty plain, and I think it's all the better for it, and therefore I think it will have quite a wide appeal to a variety of different riders. This has a fairly understated branding thing going on as well, with the Belstaff embroidered patch logo on the left sleeve. Apart from that, you do have to get up quite close. You have to look towards things like the snappers just at the top of the collar section, and engraved in very fine detail on things like the zip pulls as well. In the red, we have it with the sort of off-coloured brass effect zippers, which I think look really good. You've got adjustment options by virtue of the fact you've got 3 different settings either side on the waist where you can tailor it in as required. You've got long zips on the cuffs, and across this collar piece, you have the ability to have the collar open as you go along by putting it back on this left side and clipping the collar back on itself. This may flap about a little bit. There is a little hole there, a sort of belt loop you can put it under. It does then become quite fiddly if you're wanting to do that, and I don't think it's really that necessary. I mean, you could just leave it there, I guess, or you can obviously have it in the popper over on the other side closed. As we go underneath the jacket, as you notice down this lower section, there's an overlay flap here with a rubberized coated little snap, which is great because that means if you have a sportier setup and you're leant across your tank, it isn't going to scratch it, which is something I think we all appreciate. As you notice underneath this zip section, you have a storm flap for the water as well. So this is where it folds back on itself and acts a bit like a gutter. So if the water does get through that zip section, it will just be channeled down and away from you, which is the key thing. On the inside, as I say, there's no thermal lining, so it's just this one layer effectively, this one outer layer, and then you've got the signature Belstaff check lining, which always looks good on all their jackets, and this little Napoleon vertically accessed pocket with a YKK zipper, which sits underneath the waterproof section, it should be noted. So if you have a phone that you do not want to get wet and cannot cope with it, that's a good place to keep it. Corduroy lining on things like the cuffs and collars, that's great for comfort. It means that it's really comfortable to wear for sort of longer rides. It doesn't chafe, and that's something that the sort of top Belstaff jackets always tend to have. In terms of the sizing, we found that this is true to the new Belstaff size guide, so this large fitting a 42 comes up a tiny bit more snugly than some of the other items. So this actually fit me as being someone who is a 41 and a bit inch chest. So I do think there's a small degree of variation between the jackets, but you can check over on the product page at urbanrider.co.uk. The large is the one I would go for, being just a smidge under a 42 chest myself. And these, as I say, should be in stock from the end of March, though pending Brexit and all the chaos we have at the ports, who knows? But this will be released when the product is ready, so rest assured by the time you see this, the product will be good to go. If you have any questions, comments or feedback, leave that in the section below, and stay tuned for more video reviews of the upcoming Belstaff 21 range, as well as more from the rest of the world's finest riding gear. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon. Goodbye.